panel located on the side of your screen. If you do have any questions or issues that come up during the course of the webinar, please feel free to use that feature. If you're not seeing that control panel on the side, you will see a red arrow in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can click on that and that will expand the control panel for you. We definitely encourage questions, but we will wait to address them until the end just to make sure that we can give them all the time that they need. So please feel free to use that and ask whatever questions we have. Before I turn it over to our speakers, I'd like to start by introducing Wil-Kil and Holders. Some of you who are familiar with the companies may wonder why a company from Houston and a company from the upper Midwest are joining forces on a webinar. Just to kind of explain that, Wil-Kil and Holders are actually both operating divisions of Copasan Services, Inc., which is a national pest management provider. So as operating companies, we kind of work together on some projects. So that is why we were coming together today. Wil-Kil does service the upper Midwest, including Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and Iowa. And Holders services the Houston-Galveston metro. We have one speaker from each company with us. First up, we'll have Jeff Keller, who is the regional manager at Holders Pest Solutions. He is an associate certified entomologist and has been in the pest control industry for 14 years. He was initially with Arizona Exterminating after retiring from the Army, and then he joined Holders in 2014. He started the bedbug division at Arizona Exterminating and also launched the thermal remediation program at Holders last year. Jared is the Special Services Manager at Wil-Kil. He is responsible for overseeing the bedbug division. He has been in the pest control industry for 6 years, and all 6 of those years have been with Wil-Kil. He is the Vice President of the Wisconsin Pest Management Association, and one of his favorite things about working with bedbugs is that they always surprise him. He's been surprised by bedbugs in some of the strangest places, such as department stores, ambulances, even library books, or kitchen sinks. So with that, thank you again for all attending with us today, and I will kick it over to Jeff Keller, who will start things off for us.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day, and thank you for joining us. First thing that we're going to start with is identification of the, and why that's so important. Identification of the bed bug is highly important. We want to make sure what we see is actually a bed bug. And as you can see by the slide here, it all starts with an egg, and they go through a very slow metamorphosis. All they're doing is getting bigger. They start with an egg, and the egg, a female bed bug can lay up to 8 eggs at a time, and with 8 eggs at a time, one female can lay up to 500 eggs over her lifetime. So you can see that one bed bug can really put a scare into people. The bed bug go through 5 instars and nymphs, as you can see from, they get from the small one through the bigger ones there, up until the dark reddish adult ones there. They can go from egg to adult in as little as 40 days if the temperatures and humidity are good. Okay, on our next slide, we're going to have a slight comparison to how you identify a male and a female. As you can see by the slide, the females are more of an oval shape, where the male kind of long comes down to a point. But these are adults. They are the adults always get the dark red in color. On our next slide, as you can see, they're easily seen. The adults are easily seen with the naked eye. They're reddish brown, wingless, the size of an apple seed. And we usually refer, we ask people, what are they seeing? Does it look like an apple seed? That's what we're asking them. And these adults that you see on that finger there, or that they've looks like they've had a pretty good blood meal already. Now, as we're moving on, the nymphs, and like I said, there's 5 stages of the nymphs. They're yellowish, translucent, and they can be bright red after a blood meal, as shown in the lower right there. As you can see by the size with them circled on the penny, they're very small. And one of the things that and Jared will talk about looking for them, is because they are translucent, they do blend in, and they're very small. It's a good inspection technique is what we're going to discuss later, how we can identify these easily for you. As we're moving on, of the mistaken identity. We have a very close cousin, the bat bug. Now, the only real way to tell them is get them under the microscope, and you can tell where the eyes are. If you look at the slide on the left, the picture on the left, excuse me, where it's pointing to the eyes, and then it's pointing on the hairs. On the bat bug, the hairs are slightly longer than that on the bed bug. And a lot of times when we have gotten calls, we ask where they found these. It could be as simple as a bird nest on the outside of the house, and the bat bug has made its way in. So we want to make sure, beyond a reasonable doubt, before we render any type of treatment, what we're dealing with. A lot of mistaken identity that we come across. We have people they'll call in. They have a little bug, and we want them to describe it, but German cockroaches, larder beetles, carpet beetles, ticks, and yes, of course, we've even had the mysterious lint ball that have been asked or accused of being a bed bug. So we want to make sure, we're doing the right thing. Anything you do out there, we want to make sure we got the right treatment. We want to solve the problem. Okay, signs you may have a problem. Some of the things that we want to take a short little time here is discuss, what you may be seeing either on yourself or in and around your home. A lot of times, the red flags that it could be spotting, blood spots on the bed, not knowing why they came there. You didn't have a sore, but all of a sudden we're getting some, the spots in and around your bedding. As you can see here, this could look like a dark ink stain, but the people that have been doing the bed bug inspections for a while, this is a blood staining and feces on the mattress. After one, the bed bugs, when they relieve themselves, and two, if you roll over on one, you could squish it, leaving the stains. Another obvious sign is you can see the bed bugs, the adults in and around your area, and that's a good sign. When you're seeing multiple bed bugs, they've probably been, like I said earlier, up to 40 days to become an adult if conditions are right, and and as long as a year, depending on if they've been able to feed over that period of time. When looking at this slide here, you see that there's several bites up and down the shoulder, up along the neck, and there's a lot of, we don't identify the bites for you. We can say that you've been bitten. It's very hard to say that's a bed bug, that's a tick, that's a mosquito. Everyone does react differently when they come. Some people will show the signs, some people will not. And so that's one of the things that we want to caution people on self-diagnosis, that just because there's a bite, it's not necessarily bed bugs. Do not diagnose a bed bug infestation based on bites alone. We want to make sure we need to get in there and take a look around just to make sure. Couples can be laying side by side, and again, one person would feel it, another one won't. Mosquitoes. Some people show the effects of a mosquito bites. Other people may not. It's just depending, on the conditions. There's so many variables. We want to make sure. That's why when Jared talks about his inspections, we want to look what we're uncovering, what's really going in and around there. And at this time, we're going to turn it over to Jared.
All right, we just had a note that there might be some audio difficulties. We're going to try this now. So hopefully everybody can hear me now. So what we're going to do is go through the tools for the inspection. The first is what we're going to need is definitely a flashlight. This can be for your housekeepers keep on their cart, your maintenance and engineering department, they can keep in their toolbox. This will help shine a light in all those little tiny cracks and crevices that these bed bugs can hide into. We definitely want to wear gloves when we do inspections. Bed bugs are not proven to transmit any type of bloodborne disease, but it definitely is something when we're dealing with a pest that feeds on human blood. We want to protect ourselves wearing those gloves on our hands. Shoe booties are an option, not mandatory, but definitely something that can be used. So we're not picking up any hitchhikers if the room is infested with bed bugs. And we're also going to want some kind of container, whether a pill bottle or some kind of medicine container, a plastic bag, any kind of vial. That would be great to get any type of insects that we find. So moving on here, they're called bed bugs for a reason. They typically want to be on in the bed areas anywhere close to their food source, which is going to be humans. And so the picture here, you can see that all these areas are potential for bed bugs. We found bed bugs in all of these different types of areas. We start with mattress, box spring, headboard, but picture frames, nightstands, outlets, furniture, curtains, baseboards. All these areas are going to be where bed bugs are going to potentially be. The larger their infestation goes, the more spread out that these bed bugs are going to go to. So we're going to want to take a look at all these areas. So when I start my inspections, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly peel back linens. First, I'm going to take back that top fitted sheet, and I'm also going to want to inspect inside that fitted sheet on the tufts and the folds, the stitching of that fabric. Definitely areas where bed bugs can start living in right there. And then you can get a picture on the right. We got several live bed bugs, fecal spotting. These are from high infestations, just to show the potential areas where they can be. And what we want to do is slowly peel that back. We don't want to just rip it off and with the potential to move bed bugs airborne. So we're going to slowly peel that back. Once we clear those linens, then we'll just neatly pile them up on the floor away from the bed, and then we can start the inspection of the mattress. So when I'm inspecting the mattress, I'm going to start all the way around the mattress on the tufts and the folds, the piping. What I'm looking for is live bed bugs, obviously, the black fecal spotting, calf skins. Those are all things that are going to be my cues of what I'm looking for. I'm going to go through any kind of pillow top fold that the mattress would have. I want to go up and down with a flashlight real thoroughly in all these little areas. What I'm looking for is on the piping, if the room has had a bed bug infestation in the past, that fecal matter will still be there. So we'll touch on documentation in just a minute, but that's something that we want to look for, that just because there is some fecal spotting there, potentially it could be old, but it is something that would cause a red flag. And here's a nice picture of a close-up of a mattress tag. This provides nice comfort for the bed bugs. It hides them enough where they feel safe. You can see there's a nice setup of eggs right there and fecal matter close to their food where they feel safe. So after I would clear the mattress of any infestation signs, then I'm going to move on to the box spring. So box springs are great for bed bugs. The plastic corner cups on the edges of the box springs, the felt backing, the wooden frame inside a box spring, all are great hiding spots for bed bugs. When I think of my hospitality industry and those linens are being changed frequently, sometimes we'll see that bed bugs will just stay off the mattress. They don't like that disturbance of that daily changing of the sheets, so they'll typically go to a box spring or a bed skirt. So we're going to make sure that we go through all of these areas. If we have to peel back that fabric backing to complete our inspection, we'll do that as well. Here's the bed skirts. Hotels especially, we don't see these changed very often. So these bed bugs will definitely like to hide in the stitching and the fabric right underneath these bed skirts, close to their food source, and they feel very protected. After we've cleared all the mattress, box spring, and bed skirt and linens of infestation evidence, then we're going to move on to the bed frame itself. We're going to check all these nooks and crannies where the pieces of wood meet, where the metal bars go into the bed frame themselves. The rule of thumb is that the credit card can be fit into one of these cracks and crevices. It's definitely big enough for a bed bug to fit into as well. So that's something that we're going to go through these bed frames. This is a picture of a very common bed frame found in hotels. 4 wooden slats that piece together, and then 3 metal crossbars. So the next picture we're going to show is just a zoomed up where this red arrow is pointing, just to show you the tiny places that bed bugs can get into. This is why our inspections have to be so thorough. As you can see here, just where that piece of wood is peeling away, we have an adult bed bug, eggs, see some fecal spotting, all in that one little area. Hospitality industry will get headboards that are attached to the wall. So that's something that we need to take those headboards off the wall, look at that the bracket that it rests on, and inspect the headboard itself. So we're going to go through all these screw heads, pieces of wood, wherever they're meeting. That's where we're going to look for evidence. And you can see in this next picture, that's going to be zoomed in of this one screw head. We have an adult bed bug in about a dozen spotting, all in just that one little screw head. So when we do our inspections, whether it's if you're doing your staff inspections or the professionals coming out to inspect, they have to be thorough. They have to go through all these little areas where bed bugs potentially can be. And then once we start expanding our inspection, whether we have not found any evidence on the bed itself, or if we are doing an inspection to determine the extent, we're going to start searching the surrounding areas. Baseboards and trim, definitely a high potential for bed bugs. Bed bugs can hide behind those baseboards, feel very secure. Multi-family housing, especially some of the older buildings, have a pipe chase that could go unit to unit. That is definitely a highway where bed bugs can travel. As one infestation becomes large, then these bed bugs are competing for space, and they can easily find their way through a pipe chase that goes to the connecting unit. And when we do our inspections, if we are called out and we have one room that's confirmed infested, if we don't check those surrounding units, we may be missing the actual source of the infestation. Sometimes it could just be the person who has the infestation is not coming forth with it. So that's why inspecting left and right of whatever units that we find bed bugs in is a good practice. Furniture is another area we're finding bed bugs frequently. We do run into residents and homeowners who may not choose to sleep in a bed. They do sleep in recliners or couches for one reason or the next. So we definitely see bed bugs that will adapt to their schedule and their behavior. And they'll start setting up shop right by these in the recliners, the tufts and the folds of the furniture. So you can see here in the pictures that furniture is definitely a place where bed bugs are going to be. These all need to be inspected to clear a unit or a residence of bed bugs. And we expand our inspection even further. Nightstands right next to the bed, even inside the drawers of nightstands, the electrical outlets, that maybe a bed is pushed up against the wall, curtains that hang above a bed or above furniture, all areas to be inspected for bed bugs. All right, so we found a bug. Now we need to put a plan in place, whether it's hospitality, property management, landlords, having a plan in place of what to do is best practice. So if a bed bug is captured by your staff, by a resident, definitely want to know your next steps. We want to inform the upper management, the GM, the decision maker, so everybody gets well informed of what to do next. Several times we hear situations where there's a change in the employee shift and somebody found bed bugs and they left a note for the next person to deal with. Definitely something we don't want to do. Have that plan in place, know who we're talking to and who is going to take the lead on contacting pest control and moving forward with inspections and treatments. All right, so and this leads us into preventing additional outbreaks, addressing the situation. We talk about having an action plan in place. Education is really the best form of preventative measures with bed bugs. Having staff, employees, all well versed in what bed bugs are, knowing that these bugs, these insects are a hitchhiking pest, that they can come in at any time. It's nothing that the location does as far as the building itself. None of these hotels and apartments are built with bed bugs. They're a problem that comes in on guests and residents. Luggage, hitchhiking pests. Again, we see these bed bugs travel from place to place, whether it's on luggage, backpacks, purses, handbags, even shoes, wheelchairs. I mean, we've seen it move almost in every direction, in every possible way. One of the main ways that especially the housing authority, multifamily housing locations get hit with the worst, used furniture. Used furniture is a way where bed bugs are moving around. We see tenants dumpster diving. We've done treatments where a recommendation to remove a piece of infested furniture was given. The tenants agreed, they threw it away, and then we've later seen that same piece of furniture in a different unit as a resident went in and took it out of the dumpster. We see garage sales, free tables in communities like this. Definitely an easy way for bed bugs to be moving around from place to place. It is something that everybody needs to be aware of how they're moving around. One thing, especially for multifamily housing, new move-ins, having those people educated on what your location's bed bug policy and procedures are, and when they're bringing in new furniture, having that inspected right away. Being proactive, one of the best forms of a maintenance plan for bed bugs, performing the inspections. Now these should be done definitely with a professional. Visual inspections are great to have them in on an annual basis. Staff inspections, having staff trained in how to inspect for bed bugs, whether it's hospitality or multifamily housing. They should be well versed in how to do their inspections. When we do our inspections, documentation is a great practice. We need to document the unit, or whether the hotel room or the apartment unit, where the complaint came from, who did the inspection, the results of the inspection. If a company is coming out to do the inspection, whether Holder's technician or a Wil-Kil technician, there will be a written report of the findings. But document everything. It aids in any kind of future questions on the rooms or what's been done in the past there. Educating the staff, guests, and patients, whoever your location would need that education, having an on-site staff member from one of the companies come out and do the education, and then also assisting with the action plan. Creating an action plan would be based on your specific location of what to do if there's ever a bed bug case. Who's taking the call, what are they saying, what are they not saying, who's notified, who's documenting, who's getting in contact with pest control. A note on these action plans as well, we do have for both companies action plans available that will be provided in a follow-up following the webinar. And to kind of conclude here on the being proactive in inspection, mattress and box spring covers or monitors are great for early detection of bed bugs. The mattress and box spring encasements can go over the mattress and box spring itself. They zip, they lock, they're bed bug proof, which means the bed bug cannot bite through that material. They cannot escape out of it. They're meant to just be part of your mattress or box spring moving forward. All that fecal matter and the live bed bugs themselves, they could still end up on the outside of that encasement, but it eliminates all those hiding spots and makes early detection possible. We have monitors that available. These will go under bed or furniture. Bed bugs are a climbing insect in general, so these climb-up monitors can be placed in the unit. They do not replace a full inspection, but they just aid in ongoing monitoring and inspections for bed bugs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up and for questions. If anybody has any questions or anything you would like us to recover from the slideshow, we're going to be able to do that now. Questions can be typed into the chat box. We also have our email addresses for any kind of questions or concerns depending on your location for bed bugs. You can see there for the Wil-Kil Upper Midwest areas, bedbugs@wilkil.com, and then for the holders, Houston, Galveston area, bedbugs@holderspetsolutions.com. Okay, well, again, if there's any questions, feel free to type into the chat box on your control panel. And if you have a question that you would just like privately answered, you can do that as well. You can also email to one of the email addresses on the screen. Okay, we have a question in here. Where did bed bugs come from? So bed bugs, we've had bed bugs in the U.S. and all over the world forever. Bed bugs date back to early cave-dwelling societies and originated from their cousin, the bat bug. And as society grew and people moved, bed bugs moved with them. So we had bed bugs. They were very prevalent in the U.S. in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. We also had a good product, the DDT, back then, and that somewhat eliminated bed bugs from being around. They did make a strong comeback in the early 2000s. Bed bugs are, from all the experts in the industry, something we got to get used to, something that doesn't seem like it's going to go away. And if you haven't had to deal with bed bugs at your location, it's almost a matter of when, not a matter of if. So, good question. Okay, next question. Can bed bugs be spread from room to room by a vacuum cleaner? So this could be with I'm guessing, hospitality location, a vacuum cleaner moving from one room to the next, or multifamily housing. Sometimes there's shared vacuums for floors or for residents to use. So I would say that it definitely is a possibility. I don't know how strong of a possibility it would be. A bed bug could survive being picked up by a vacuum. It would really depend on how often that vacuum bag or container was cleaned out and thrown away. So I say the possibility is there, but it would be kind of a low risk. Okay, we've got some more good questions coming in. One question is, how do you kill bed bugs? We have several treatments for bed bugs. We actually will have a couple upcoming webinars, and one of the next ones will cover treatments specifically. For the person who asked that question, if you would like some, some immediate info, I would suggest emailing into one of the email addresses on the screen, and we'd be happy to go into great detail with it. But in a nutshell, we do have a couple different treatments, pesticides or high temperature heat treatments. Okay, next question. Is it true if you find bed bugs in a couch to wrap it up in a bag for 1 day? It's really new and you don't want to throw it away. Okay, so every bed bug infestation is going to be a little different. So depending on the number of bed bugs that were found on the piece of furniture, that would depend on what we would recommend. Furniture can be saved. The high temperature heat treatments are a great method to keep from throwing away furniture. There are cases where even the heat, there's times where a recommendation of disposal is needed. Similar to the mattress and box spring encasement, there is an encasement for furniture, similar to like a slip cover, but it is made of that bed bug proof material. So there are options for saving furniture. But I'm sorry, to wrap up, just wrapping it up for 1 day would not do justice to the treatment. Okay, next question here. What happens if you had a unit treated multiple times, even with heat, and you continue to have issues? So again, every unit's every treatment, every bed bug infestation is a little different. The variables, especially in multifamily housing or apartment units, the variables are the residents. There's times where we can try to pinpoint, here's probably how the infestation came in, here's our best educated guess. We can never say, here's 100% for sure how they came in. So heat treatments are the best method for eliminating bed bugs. It's the industry standard for treatments. But a lot depends, no matter what kind of treatment you do, on the residents themselves. Where are they going? Who are they visiting with? Who's entering their unit? So there are a lot of factors. Vehicles are a factor. I've seen bed bugs frequently in personal vehicles. So there are a lot of variables in there. So I don't know if I can give you like a perfect answer for what happens if you had a unit treated multiple times, but it would be a case by case. But in a situation like that, I would look to do a little more investigating with the resident themselves, making sure they're following all recommendations.
Okay, the next question is, after a treatment, how long before the room is rechecked for bed bugs?
Okay, so after a treatment, typically a recheck, if it's a visual, can be done within a couple days, a week, based on what's been agreed to in the treatment contract itself. Different locations could have a different request. To get into another webinar and way to inspect is a future webinar could be canine. If you're having a canine come in, that's going to be more 20 to 30 days after a treatment. But visually, usually ballpark time is in a week to 10 days.
So how long can a bed bug live without a feeding?
Bed bugs can live, the industry right now, everybody is pretty much in agreement of 6 to 9 months without a blood meal. That's what a bed bug can, they basically just shut down, almost like a hibernation, but basically they're just shutting themselves down, they just wait for that food to come back to them. So in a case of hotels, if I find bed bugs in a room, we can shut that room down for a couple days. We don't have to fear that these bed bugs are going to get off that bed and go searching for food and go into different rooms. They're pretty much going to stay and wait and be content for that food to come back to them. But as far as how long they can survive, a good ballpark range would be about 6 to 9 months.
If a bed bug is on clothing or sheets, can it survive a cycle through the washer and dryer?
So bed bugs can't survive temperatures over 120 degrees, and any household or commercial dryer would get hot enough to kill bed bugs. So anything that can go into a dryer would be highly recommended to do so.
Would that be the same for bat bugs?
That is the, yep, that follow-up question, it would be the same for bat bugs.
In hospitals, after treatment, when can the room be reopened for new patients?
For hospital settings, it would really depend on the treatment. The high temperature heat treatments, the rooms are available the very next day, whether it's hospitals, hotels, apartment settings. So usually, typical time for a hospital, you would be a quick turnaround within the next day.
Do you recommend having tenants get rid of their furniture if they continue to have issues?
Again, this would be a kind of a case-by-case basis without seeing the current infestation of what's going on or knowing about this unit. If it's something that's ongoing infestations or sightings are happening with the same tenant, it could be something that we would recommend that a piece of furniture could be the continued problem and may need to be discarded. Any treatment would have specific recommendations based on what the technician saw for any follow-up recommendations.
And then the final question is, if a guest gets bitten by a bug, what should they put on their skin to stop from itching? This is something that we would recommend that you talk to your primary care provider to discuss that. There's probably some suggestions they have, but it's not something that we can necessarily address.
All right. Well, if there's any other last-minute questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. Otherwise, please use the email addresses on the screen for Wil-Kil or holders, and we'll be able to answer any questions or concerns that way as well. As long as there's no other questions, we definitely appreciate from Jeff and myself, holders and Wil-Kil, we appreciate everybody who took the time to get on the webinar, get some information. Again, anything else that needs to be further explained or specific questions, we can always answer those. We will be following up with the action plans for everyone, and definitely look forward to some future webinars to pass on all information we can.
We actually got one more question, two more questions. If you treat through chemical, when can a new patient be admitted to the room?
So that would depend on, I guess, the product that was used. Typically, if it's a hospital room, there's a certain product we like to use that a patient could come in a few hours after the treatment. Again, I would probably want a little more info to just see what was being used and where it was treated, just because every treatment is a little different. So not really a large answer for that, but I would want to just have a little more info, but usually within the next few hours, that room could be back for service. And there's actually a question on when will the next webinar be. There's not a date set for the next webinar as of right now. we will be following up with all the attendees with that as soon as we have that locked in. All right. Well, thank you everybody once again for joining. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Wil-Kil or Holders Pest Solutions. Thank you.